Parsha Shmini. The Mesilas Yesharim in Perek Aleph tells us what life is all about. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu put us into this in this world? And he says, Somay HaKadosh Baruch Hu La'adam, the Rabenu Shalom placed us in this world in a place that Rabim Boi HaMachikim Oisai Mimenu Yizbarach, that there are a lot of distractions that are pulling us away from doing what the Rabenu Shalom wants. The Heim HaTaivos, these are the temptations that Im Yimoshech Acharehen, if a person lets himself be drawn after them, he's going to Misrachek V'hoilech, he's going to distance himself from Hashem. V'nimtza Shuhu Musam Be'emes B'terch HaMilchoma HaChazaka. The Mesilas Yesharim tells us that we are here in this world in the midst of a Milchoma Chazaka, a raging battle. The Rabenu Shalom wants us to do A, and we have temptations to do Z. Doing Z is more comfortable for us. Doing Z is more pleasurable for us. So we are in the midst of a raging battle, and the way these yainos work, the way these tests work, is that when we want to do Z because it's more pleasurable for us, or more convenient for us, or more comfortable for us, but how are we going to do Z if we know that Rabenu Shalom wants us to do A? Our conscience would not let us. So we have to justify doing Z, and that's called rationalization. We have to rationalize that really Z is not what the Rabenu Shalom wanted, but we're allowed to do it. There are reasons for us to be able to do it. We convince ourselves that there are reasons that we are allowed to do it. Those reasons that we do it are really falsehoods. It's just to permit us to do our temptations. That's the way, basically, in the Shainos work tests. There's something we should do, something we don't want to do, we'd rather do the opposite, and then we justify ourselves in doing the wrong thing because it enables us to do our temptations. So the avodah, the work that we have to do on this world, is not to let ourselves be distracted, and also to be able to recognize all these rationalizations that they're really falsehoods, and they're only trying to permit us to do things that we shouldn't be doing. And that's the avodah of the human being in this world, not to let himself be drawn away from doing what's right, and to recognizing the rationalizations that permit him to do it. In today's Parsha, in Parsha Shmini, we have a rare glimpse of an Adam Gadol fighting against those rationalizations and fighting against those temptations that are pulling him away from doing the right thing. This Adam Gadol is none the less than Moshe Rabenu himself, and we see how he fought off these false rationalizations. It says in the Parsha, Vayikra Perek Yud Pasuk Chaf. It says, Vayishma Moshe Vayitav Be'enov which means, according to Chazal, the way Chazal interpret this whole parsha, and Rashi brings it down, B'kitzur, that there was a tremendous dispute between Moshe Rabenu and his brother Aaron. And they discussed it and fought about it until Moshe Rabenu himself said, Vayishma Moshe vayitav b'einov, Moshe admitted that Aaron was correct. According to Chazal, and Rashi brings it, that Moshe Rabenu admitted that he made a mistake. He admitted, Shamati, I heard the way Aaron is explaining it, the way Aaron holds the halacha is, he is correct. I heard it from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shamati v'shochachti, but I forgot it. He admitted that he forgot this halacha. And he could have said otherwise. He could have said, Lo shomati, I never heard this halacha, to reduce his mistake. He could have said, I never heard this halacha. No, the truth was, I heard it from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and I forgot it. And he didn't say that I never heard it. And not only did he admit that he made a mistake, but the Medrash in Vayikra Rabbah, Chazal, say, Shesholach Moshe b'chol gvul Yisrael. Moshe sent a message to all the boundaries of Israel, Lahidia, to inform everybody, Sheshoma v'shochach, that he heard this halacha from Hashem and he forgot it, but what Aaron said was correct. But he heard it from Hashem and he forgot it. Now this is totally mystifying. What is this all about? That he went to advertise, to send a message to all Klal Yisrael, that he heard it and forgot it. Rav Agoin Reb Chaim Shmulevich Zechet Tzaddik Livrocha explains to us what Chazal mean. Chazal mean like this, that Moshe Rabenu, the truth was, on one side of the scale, he was debating within himself, Moshe Rabenu. He was working on his Midos, he was debating within himself, what's the right thing to do? The emes was, Shomati v'shochachti. The emes was, I heard it, and I forgot it. But it's not easy for a Gadol Hador, for a Moshe Rabenu, it's not easy to admit that he made a mistake. So, on the other hand, he would rather say, I never heard this halacha. I never heard it. And he could rationalize. He could rationalize that he never heard it and go away from the truth. Eis laseis Hashem heferu teresecha. Sometimes you got to do things a little bit heferu teresecha. You have to not go the straight way. Sometimes, if it's going to help, Eis laseis Hashem. Do you know what could happen here? What could happen here if Moshe Rabenu says, Lo shomati, I never heard this halacha. If Moshe Rabenu says he never heard this halacha, he has reason to justify himself and going away from the truth totally. Why? Because you know what people will say? People will say, no, if he would say Shema. On one hand, the truth was that Moshe Rabenu said, Shomati v'shochachti. I admit, I heard this from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I forgot it. But it's lo na'im, it's not pleasant for a godel, especially the stature of Moshe Rabenu or anybody, to say that he forgot this halacha. He forgot this halacha. So he could have been tempted to rather say, I never heard this halacha. Never heard this halacha. Instead of saying, I heard it and forgot it, he would say, I never heard this halacha. He's tempted to say that. And he can justify saying that he never heard this halacha, because if he would tell the outright truth that he forgot it, he's endangering the entire Torah. The entire Torah is given over to us because Moshe Rabbeinu heard it from Hashem. Klal Yisrael only heard the first two dibros, the first two commandments. But everything that we have in the Torah was given over to us by Moshe Rabbeinu the way he heard it from Hashem. So if he would say the truth, which he did say, I heard it and I forgot it, the whole Torah Moshe would be in jeopardy. People might say, Moshe Rabbeinu forgot. Maybe he forgot a lot of other halachas. Maybe he didn't correctly tell us what Hashem said. If Moshe Rabbeinu could make a mistake, it would jeopardize the entire Torah. And therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu has good reason to say a little white lie in order to keep the whole Torah from being destroyed. So the truth was that he said Shomati v'shochachti. I heard, I forgot it. But saying forgot it, it would be easier for him to say I never heard it. I never heard it. And the reason to justify him to say that he never heard it, to veer off and say a non-truth, he never heard it, would be because he can rationalize and justify himself and say that if I said the truth, Shemati v'shachachti, it might jeopardize the whole Torah. If Moshe Rabbeinu could forget, then the whole Torah is in jeopardy. Because the whole Torah we hold for it from Moshe Rabbeinu, except for two dibros. So Moshe Rabbeinu was working on himself. We see this rare glimpse of a Godel Hador, of a Moshe Rabbeinu working on himself, and he would have this tremendous nisoyon he would have. Should he say the truth, Shamati v'shachachti, which he did say, and everything, and then it would jeopardize the whole Torah. I'd rather say a little white lie and say, I never heard it from Hashem, and the Torah is not in jeopardy. We see Moshe Rabbeinu working on himself, like we said at the beginning, that this whole world is full of nisyonos, tests, that the Rabenu Shalom wants us to do A. We want to do Z. It's easier, it's more pleasurable for us, but our conscience does not let us do the opposite. That does not. We see that Moshe Rabbeinu held and was not tempted to say that I never heard it, and he said the right thing, even though, according to his rationalization, it would have been easier and better. It would have been easier for him to say I never heard it, because saying I heard it and forgot it would jeopardize the entire Torah. But Moshe Rabbeinu went and did the right thing, and he said, I got to tell the truth, And I want to spread this to all Klal Yisrael. The all Klal Yisrael, B'chol Gvul Yisrael, wherever they are, I want them all to realize what life is all about, that life is full of tests, and sometimes we want to do the wrong thing, and we justify ourselves with great justifications that we should do the wrong thing, that we're allowed to do the wrong thing, and really the wrong thing is just enabling us to fulfill our temptations. The Eibishter should help us. We should be zeicha. We should be zeicha to overcome all the nisyanos, to recognize what's a rationalization and how false that rationalization is, and that rationalization is only permitting us, giving us a heter to do what Hashem does not want us to do. We should be zeicha to overcome all these nisyanos. Amen v'amen.